importance of yoga has been recognized across the globe. And you know that yoga has many benefits in terms of providing a stress-free life. And often we imagine yoga to be doing very complicated asanas. But that's only one part of yoga. Yoga is more about leading a balanced life with yourself, with people around you, with nature around you. And that is what yoga teaches us. And UGC also has been putting its efforts to spread the message of yoga across the university ecosystem. And I'm glad to tell you that across the higher educational ecosystem in India, today, the International Day of Yoga is being celebrated. We have here an expert who will talk to us about the importance of yoga in our everyday life. And I would like to welcome Dr. Ishwar to make his presentation.
Namaskar, sir. Yes. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Honorable Chairperson of the UGC and senior officers from the
sorry, sir. I think so. Some network issue with the self. He will join. 1 second.
Namaste. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I will restart. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Honorable Chairman, Sir of UGC, esteemed academicians, friends, ladies and gentlemen, my sadar pranams to you all. At the outset, my hearty greetings to you all on the occasion of 9th International Day of Yoga being celebrated across the globe. Just I am speaking from Jabalpur, where I led the mass demonstration of the main function led by Honorable Vice President of India. So it's my privilege to share some of my views on importance of yoga for health and wellness on this occasion. Before that, I would like to mention that in the year 2014, when Honorable Prime Minister of India, Sri Narendra Modi ji, appealed at the United Nations to adopt International Day of Yoga, in a record time of less than 3.5 months, 177 countries out of 193 UN nations supported anonymously and adopted. Ever since, Ministry of Ayush, our institute, Morarji Desai as Minister of Yoga, actively participating and promoting various aspects of yoga for health and wellness of both mass and class population, especially among the students and teachers. I do remember the Honorable Prime Minister's letter on 12th August 2014, the first letter we received in the Ministry of Ayush, and directing to take initiative to introduce yoga in all the teachers training programs and also for the uniform personnel. We complied along with the Ministry of then Human Resources, and we come up with a 14 teacher education program has been considered, and yoga has become one of the subjects in all the teacher education programs. So now, during the last 9 years, lot of initiative has been taken by Government of India. Now, with this initiative, it has become 3 lakh crore business, health and wellness, and along with yoga. This is a huge market. It's an exponential growth. Yoga is being widely accepted globally because it is the need, it is the necessity, and it is our ancient wisdom. We should be very proud that. So it's our culture, it's our spiritual heritage being accepted by world community, especially in the COVID pandemic. Yoga and its practices, time-tested practices, has played vital role in the stressful condition, especially in the COVID rehabilitation, and healthcare workers hugely benefited by the practice of pranayama, meditation, relaxative techniques. So it is expected that by 2027, the yoga wellness industry will go up to 5 lakh crores. There's a huge demand for quality yoga teachers across the globe, not only in India, across the globe. I do understand, you all know that UGC has also taken many initiatives to introduce yoga as a core subject, optional subjects, and at various levels. Now, more than 400 universities have yoga departments. Either they start some master course, graduate course, or diploma certificates, one or the other. Courses related to yoga are being conducted by more than 400 universities. It's a very healthy sign to adopt a yogic lifestyle as core of our daily routine. Before I begin my PowerPoint presentation, now the Government of India, or we are all talking about sustainable development. So unless we modify our lifestyle, if our lifestyle is not healthy, definitely that goal is not being achieved. Therefore, it's our priority to keep ourselves healthy, fit, both physically and mentally, so that we can contribute for the sustainable development of the country. So, next slides, please. Next slide. Yeah, we all know that yoga is an invaluable gift of ancient Indian tradition. While addressing the UN nation on 27 September 2014, Honorable Prime Minister Sir has quoted, "It embodies unity of mind and body, thought and action, restraint and fulfillment, harmony between man and nature, and a holistic approach to health and well-being." It's a very comprehensive definition and meaning of yoga I found in the recent past. So in his resolution, UN resolution states yoga provides a holistic approach to health and well-being. Yoga also brings harmony in all walks of life. And thus, it is known for disease prevention, health promotion, and management of many lifestyle-related disorders. I am very happy to share in the last 10 years, the research dimension of yoga has been increased exponentially. In 2006, where only few hundred research papers are being published in the index journals, now the last year, it went up to more than 3,000 plus quality research papers have been published in the peer-reviewed index journals. That shows the growth of yoga and its qualitative impact on the knowledge system. Next slide, please. So this year, the concept of International Day of Yoga is a yoga for Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. The concept of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam has been a part of Indian philosophy over the centuries. And it is closely linked to the practice of yoga, where it unites, as I said in the earlier, it begins with the micro level at the cell, cell to the tissue, tissues to the organs, organs to the systems, systems to the whole body, body to the mind, mind to the, and like this it unites. It starts from micro at the cellular level, it goes up to the macro at the universal consciousness. So that's why it's unite the whole humanity. We consider the whole world as one family. That's why yoga has been widely accepted. Yoga promotes the idea of oneness and unity, encouraging individuals to connect with their inner selves and with others in the spirit of compassion and understanding. You may appreciate yoga is an excellent tool for global well-being too. Its numerous benefits, including stress reduction, improves mental clarity and focus, physical dimensions, mindfulness, and spirituality, make it a valuable practice for anyone seeking to improve their overall health and well-being. Next slide, please. Yoga is being practiced for disease prevention, health and wellness, management of especially the stress and anxiety in the recent times, and non-communicable diseases. So diabetes, hypertension, cancer, stroke, etc. are alarmingly increasing across the globe. Yoga is being used as a adjunctive therapy or complementary therapy in some cases for rehabilitation. Therefore, the importance of yoga in the management of non-communicable diseases is increasing year by year. So it also being practiced to reduce the heart rate and especially in the management of hypertension. And worldwide, from the 1940s, where Guruji B.K. Iyengar introduced the asanas to the entire Western community, it is being accepted as a physical fitness, improving the strength and flexibility. So it also have the spiritual dimension, that is to realize oneself. Self-realization is the ultimate goal of yoga, which is being practiced in many of the centers. Next slide, please. Next slide. So I always point out, these are some silent features of yoga. As previous one, as rightly said by the Honorable Chairperson of the UGC, that yoga is mostly considered as the physical dimension, some asanas. So in the West, yoga means asanas, the physical postures. But yogic practices are mind-centric. If you are doing yoga, it doesn't have any impact on our mind and its facets. So we are not doing yoga, we are doing some exercises, because yoga is mind-body practice. So with that, it's always bring the harmony and the principles and of yoga and practice of yoga, and it leads to a healthy living. That's why many of the yoga centers promotes an art of healthy living. Yoga is the best example. So many people don't consider it a science, but it's a science, but it's a subtle science, because in science we do experiment. Here it is experiential science. So it's also considered as one of the Shad Darshana, the philosophy among Nyaya, Vaisheshika, Sankhya, Yoga, Mimamsa, and Vedanta. the Yoga Darshana advocated by Patanjali is one of the best philosophy among the Shad Darshanas. And I always used to say this, yoga is essentially spiritual. The spirituality is to know what I am, to stay within and explore the inner dimensions of human potential at all levels, physical level to the extreme spiritual level. So that dimension is proposed by yoga, and yogic practices are essentially spiritual. Next slide, please. So now slowly with this preamble, come to the applied aspects of yoga. How yoga works. It works only whenever we do some asanas, pranayama and dhyana, with profound principles. Then it has impact on body. Then it has an impact on the energy level. It has impact on the mind, that is thoughts and emotions. And it has the impact on intelligence, that is discrimination facets. So these are the 4 important dimensions have been mentioned in the traditional text. And also over the last more than 3-4 decades, extensive researches has shown the impact of yoga on our body, on energy level, especially on the mind and its various dimensions and intelligence. Next slide. For that, next slide. So these are the health and wellness, previous one. In the WHO or in or our Indian system of yoga, so we always say yoga is health means physical, social, and mental well-being. It's not the absence of disease. In Ayurveda also, samadhatuhu samagnihi, samadoshaha malakriha, prasannatmindriya manaha, swastyaha ityavidiyate. But here yoga consider, so once we born, once the union of Prakriti and Purusha happens, the evolution of Prakriti leads to the Tapatraya, Adi Bhautika, Adi Daivika, Adhyatmika Tapa. So how to overcome that? It all because of avidya, the ignorance. The yogic practices leads to the end of ignorance, and that brings the harmony that leads to the ultimate freedom. Freedom from all kinds of suffering. As Buddha says, the birth is painful, living is painful, death is painful. Dukkha follows in every walks of life. So where is this concept dukkha? It is in the mind. Therefore, yoga always advocates the practices to overcome tapa in every walks of life and keep us to feel in freedom, live in freedom, so that the very purpose of human birth will be fulfilled. Next slide, please. Next slide. So this is an important slide. Yoga is being practiced from the ancient time as the preventive medicine. We are calling it a medicine. So heyam dukkham anagatam, Patanjali says, dukkha is inevitable, but we can prevent the dukkha by the practice of yoga. That it advocates, it's a preventive. And it is for the health promotion when we go towards the higher dimensions of our personalities, that is samadhi or kaivalya, that promotes the entire annamaya kosha, pranamaya kosha, etc. So it is being practiced for both from the ancient time. But in the recent past, it is very useful in the management of lifestyle-related disorders or psychosomatic disorders. I am observing from the 1980s as a teacher, and it's a huge benefits have been, our researches has been conducted to explore the possibilities of using yogic practices or yoga modules or yoga protocols in various disorders like lifestyle-related disorders. Therefore, now it is being considered as one of the major therapy in these modern times. Next slide, please. Next slide. Yes, please. Next slide. Yeah. So, next slide, please. Next slide. Go ahead. We have another 5-10 minutes. Quickly. Sorry for the inconvenience. Next slide, please. Yeah. Now, how yoga works. It's an important slide. And I brought this slide with my 36 years of teaching yoga. So how yoga works. Whenever we want to practice yoga, that the first one is detoxification. Detox. That's why Patanjali said, Ashuddhikshaye Jnanadipti Vivekat Khatir. When you advocate Ashtanga Yoga, he advocates that. That means the whole process of yoga is to detoxify. So after that, the combination of some asanas according to the one's own physical conditions, and the pranayama, the breathing practices, breathe regulation practices, and the meditation or dhyana, this wonderful combination so always have the major impact on two important systems of our body, endocrinal system and nervous systems, both central nervous system and autonomous nervous system. So that increases the mind-body coordination. Whenever we have the mind-body coordination, there's always a relaxed, refreshed, and calm. That leads to health and wellness. Next slide, please. There are many concepts. So some people only talk about Ashtanga Yoga. Yoga has several dimensions. It has a Prasthanatraya where we talk about Panchakosha. We have the concept of Chakras, Panchapranas, and various concepts are there in yoga being used combinedly or individually and to explore the many possibilities. One of the best concepts is Panchakosha, the 5 seats of human being. Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, Anandamaya Kosha. So several yoga models has been developed on the basis of this Panchakosha concept. Next slide, please. So how it works in this one. Yoga, as I said in the earlier slide, that disturbances started at the mind, Manomaya Kosha. So continuous disturbances are fastness of the mind, fluctuating mind leads to the disturbance in our prana that leads to the irregular breathing activities. So if it continues for the long time or long period, so that will convert into the disturbance in the physical bodies. The slowly, many of our daily metabolism, then cardiac functions, respiratory functions are getting disturbed, and it has the impact on our nervous system and also endocrine system. So that slowly convert into the disorders. Then if it is not taken care, they convert into the lifestyle-related disorders or diseases. So therefore, how yoga works? Next slide, please. So as I said, whenever we do have this yogic intervention, we start with purification or detoxification. So we advise some diet modifications. Is there any need to change our diet, which is not healthy? Many people don't consider diet as a part of yoga. So diet is an important part of yoga. And there is again missed notion. So if you practice yoga, you have to leave many things. No. So you have to eat, but you have to eat moderately, according to the reason, according to the season, according to the one body constitution. Therefore, diet is very, very important intervention in the yogic intervention. Next. So as we work, we sit, we stand, we do. There are so many wrong postures. We sit wrongly many hours. So therefore, these wrong postures also bring some of the deformities or disorders. Therefore, we propose postural modifications. So we do 6 movements, so the forward bending, backward bending, lateral bendings, twistings, topsy-turvy, and relaxative postures. So every day, 6 to 12 postures we do, so we can prevent many of these structural disorders like lower backache, cervical spondylitis, metabolic disorders, breathing disorders, etc. So after that, that has the impact on our irregular breathing. So breathe regulation is very, very important for the mind management. So once we do like to do, it is pranayama, that breathing practices. These detoxification, postural modification, and breathe modification leads to relaxation. The continuous relaxation leads to concentration, concentration to the meditation. So meditation, once it begins, that is the beginning of yoga. Because Vyasa says, yoga samadhi. Yoga is samadhi. So once we start meditating, so continuously for over the time, then there is a behavioral modification. So that behavioral modification helps us to change our lifestyle, make it healthy and very good for our personality. Next slide, please. To achieve that, so we have the concept of yoga, the 5 important. That is yuktahara viharasya, yukta chestasu karmasu, yukta swapnavabodhasya yogo bhavati dukkha. So concept of ahara, then vihara, the relaxation or yogic practices, the achara, some code of conduct we have to follow in our life, then vichara, the regulating our thoughts and emotions, and vyavhara, the behavior, what we do. In all these 5, yoga plays an important, bring modulations and regulate for as a healthy and well-being practices. Next slide, please. I don't speak much about yogic diet, but only thing is, so we should have a very good 2 meals and not to eat much. Whenever we eat, at least 1/4 of our stomach should be empty. 1/4 should be with the liquid or water, and fill up the another half portion of our stomach with the food. So this is the formula, snigdha madhura chaturtamsha vivarjita. So under the stressful condition, eat less. So, and whenever we have proper timings maintained for the taking the food, that result many of the problems what you are facing. So especially we are all executives working continuously for many hours. So we don't maintain the proper eating timings or eating habits. Yoga advocates eat at right time, eat well, but according to your body and mind propositions. Therefore, with these, next slide, please. Next slide, please. Yeah. Again, this is the second important slide. I will take 2 minutes or 1 minute minimum. So there are some prerequisites, and they are called yama and niyamas, or restraints and observances. So they are very much essential to get a good results. So many people emphasize more on that. Many people don't have the knowledge about these yama niyamas. But yama niyamas are our quality control. How much we adopt them, that in the practice of yoga, that much good results we get. So if you have some disorders, there are some yogic practices like cleansing practices, diet modulation practices, and mitahara, etc. They are all prerequisites. Now I come to these 3, asana, pranayama, and dhyana. In the beginning, we may practice more asanas. You can see the circles, the spheres. Dhyana is in the bigger circle. As and when we progress in our practice, so each asana, each pranayama practice become dhyana. So that's why I put asana in a small circle and pranayama in the bigger and dhyana in the biggest. So what it indicates, so once we start doing dhyana, that's a complete balance between the mind body and complete balance between the sympathetic and parasympathetic activity network. That leads to the healthy and well-being nature. Next slide, please. Yeah. Next slide. There are some cleansing practices. So especially for the students who are suffering from migraine nasal allergies in the cold, etc. Simple neti, dhoti, kapal bhati. They're very cost effective, and at least twice a week will resolve many of the problems related to sinusitis, migraine, etc. They're very useful for the students. Next slide, please. I have effectively used in my university as a teacher in the universities for the university students. So next slide, please. We'll go first. Yeah, these are some of the benefits of cleansing practice. You have to move fast. Next slide. Yeah, there is a Surya Namaskara. So many people consider Surya Namaskara as a yoga practice, but over the years, it has become part of our yoga practice because it has some 6 to 8 asanas, depends on. Many people practice Surya Namaskara, Chandra Namaskara, Hanumana Namaskara, Gayatri Namaskara, etc. But here we take 8 asanas and make it in a very systematic body movement, which is very helpful for the spinal flexibility and also the management of the brain functions. Therefore, Surya Namaskara has become an integral part of the yoga practice. So we should not use our other dimensions. Only we have to consider the health dimensions of Surya Namaskara, especially for the students in the adolescence or youth period, post-adolescent and youth period. Surya Namaskara plays an important role in the health and well-being of our students' community. Next slide. So there are some asanas practices. As I said earlier, there are several hundreds of asanas. But next slide, please. So there are only we need for each individual. I mentioned here on 6 to 7 postures. The one is the forward bending, backward bending, lateral bending, twisting, balancing, and also topsy turvy postures. So every day, according to our need, according to our body, mind, body structure, and our state of mind, we have to adopt some 10 to 15 minutes of postures. So you have to stay there for quite considerable time to get the maximum benefit of each asanas. Next slide, please. You have to move fast. Next slide. Yeah. So there are several health benefits of asana, and we all have extensive research. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Yeah. So then it comes to the after asana, we have a pranayama practices. So there are several types of pranayama. One is the alternative nostril breathing. So whenever we breathe, so there is a sympathetic and parasympathetic balance. Therefore, so in the pranayama, we do alternatively. Inhale through the left, exhale to the right. Inhale through the right itself and exhale to the left. If you continue that, so breathe is very, very important. It helps us to balance the sympathetic and parasympathetic activities. Simple 10 rounds of nourishing pranayama. So help us to overcome the stress and anxiety. The Brahmari pranayama, just like a bee sound, humming sound, and that humming sound help us to bring just like a tranquilizer. Even the chanting of Om, in the beginning I chant. Then Brahmari pranayama, etc. or take us to the state of dhyana. Why pranayama has been advocated in the ancient texts? Dharanasu eva manasa, Patanjali says. So if you want to meditate, so you have to manage, you have to balance, you have to regulate our breathing practices. So that's the importance of pranayama. So once we start meditating, so many times I said, meditation cannot be taught. Meditation happens. All these detoxification practices, so the postural modification, breathe modification and relaxation, then slowly it enters to the state of dhyana. Then when dhyana has been practiced regularly, the cortisol levels, which are called as stress hormones, has been reduced extensively. So once stress hormones are reduced, continuous practice of dhyana leads to the production of happy hormones. So therefore, happiness index increases those who practice this regularly. The quality dhyana, that means the yogic dhyana. There are many types of dhyana. Just closing the eyes and sitting quietly, that's not dhyana. Dhyana is a scientific process. It's a technology. Once you practice the dhyana and our lifestyle changes, as I said earlier, health and wellness are being ensured by the regular practice of dhyana. To make it realize, our institute, along with the WHO, we have the only one WHO collaborative center since 2013. So we started this collaborative center where we come up with a WHO Yum Yoga app. The second one is in the recent past, we come up with yoga break. We have a lunch break. We have various breaks. We brought in some 5 minutes yoga break, which has been tested in 6 metros with more than 30 agencies. So that yoga break for to de-stress, refresh, and to refocus twice a day at workplace. So now Honorable Prime Minister Sir also has treated and promoted it to practice, so that yoga, we don't have a time either in the morning or in the evening. Let's find out some time, 5 minutes in the 2 sessions, the first half of the day and second half of the day, so that slowly we can reduce the impact of our stress on our body and mind, and we can refresh and refocus. These apps are in public domain, and along with that, there are many protocols which are in the public, which are being extensively researched, and with the consultancy we brought in and we put it in the public domain. You can visit our ICE portal or Morarji Desai National Institute of Yoga. There are hundreds of literature, research papers, and videograph. We can use that. So ultimately, what we want in the life, we want to eat well, we want to sleep well, we want to work well, so we want to live well. This is possible only with a regular practice of yoga for half an hour. So out of 24 hours, just 30 to 40 minutes of regular practice change our lifestyle, change our entire course of healthy regime. That we are healthy, our nation will become healthy. With these, to fulfill these objectives, Morarji Desai National Institute of Yoga, which is an autonomous organization under the Ministry of Ayush Government of India, working hard to promote health and wellness to the entire student community and also teaching faculty. So once again, I thank the UGC chairperson and all the office bearers for giving me an opportunity to share some of my views. I do understand I am at the distance place, some inconvenience, I beg a pardon. So I tried my level best in this remote area to present some of my views. So once again, I thank all of you for joining this webinar. Thank you. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Ishwar, for a wonderful, very simple, comprehensive talk on yoga. I'm sure it will motivate many of the people who are listening to this program. This program also is live streamed on the social media platforms of UGC, and this video will be available for others to watch later. So let us take the lessons of yoga seriously in our life and adopt a balanced life, a healthy life, so that we can create a positive change, not only in our lives, but in the lives of people around us. I would like to thank all the participants in this program, and especially Dr. Ishwar for taking some of his time to be with us. So with those comments, I would like to conclude here. Thank you. Thank you very much. Namaste.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Namaste.